Good morning, Greg Flanagan here from Charleston, South Carolina. If it's Friday and it's 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, this is Fridays with Flanagan. It's a beautiful day down here in the South. If you're not down in the South, you should be. We'd be happy to put you in the right place with the Flanagan home team. The weather today, and it's been this way for the last week, is somewhere in the 90s. The beach temperatures somewhere in the 80s with the water at about 76 degrees now. Gulf Stream is starting to work a little bit further in towards us, which is great. The market is still hot. Just waiting on a few other people to join us. The market is still hot here in Charleston. We did about 419 sales last week, which is down from the last year, but it's about trending with 2019. So we're right around that 450, 400 every week, which is not bad. Today we're going to be talking about listing presentations. What brought me to that is one of my newer agents this week wound up going to a listing presentation, which was wonderful. She won the listing. Very, very good agent. She did win the listing, her first listing. And they came back, and during my weekly training, they said, we want to learn how to do a listing presentation. And I was like, well, let's learn how to lead generate first. And that was the cause of this. So I thought it was good. And I think the reason I did that was because the reason I showed them a listing presentation, I think it stops a lot of people from going forward and actually lead generating into a listing, because there's this mystique about a listing. You got to be X, Y, and Z to take this listing. I don't believe that. You can be, brand new agent taking $1 million listing, which this agent was, and get the listing simply because people buy you first, then they buy your company, and then they buy your product. So it's always about you when you go into these listings. And remember that if you're not going in with a mindset of I'm going to take this listing today, then you might as well not go to the listing appointment. So first thing you have to know about a listing is I'm going to take this listing. This listing is mine to lose. Whatever you need to do, and anchor it with a movement. Tony Robbins, we'll talk about that some other time, but I'm going to take this listing. Get it in your mind that you're not leaving there without taking the listing. So without further ado, let's jump in here. Glad to see some folks here, a couple different platforms. Let me change this over to, there we go, here we go. Bang, boom. Power onward, Fridays with Flanagan. Join me as I pull back the curtain of some of the best kept secrets in the real estate world. Each week we dive into what's happening in the market and how we, as professional real estate agents, should be responding. Today we're going to be talking about listing presentations. Do you have one, and how do you make one? Really, how do you make one? So the first part is content creation. It's the core of a great listing presentation. Everything you do is not geared so much about yourself. It's geared about how you're going to help and solve the person's problem that you're sitting in front of. So we're going to sit down with the, I'm sorry, something just caught my attention. We're going to sit down and show them the unique value that you are offering for them to solve their problem. You want to make sure that you're a local expert. So we're going to show them the marketing plan, right? They want to know what you'll do to market their properties and how that's going to help them. And where does this come into play? Is every property the same? Is $1 million property the same as a $200,000 property? Is a condo the same as a single family sitting on a beautiful bluff? They aren't. So your marketing plan has to be a live plan that can cover many different situations during your presentation. Okay? If you're sitting there just one marketing plan, you're not really doing a service to them. Yes, you can have boilerplate, but you've got to make it unique to them. Okay? Your next one is your pricing strategy. And the majority of appointments are either won or lost in the pricing discussions. When discussing the suggested pricing, your clients should list that and what your market analysis says. Now, a lot of people go and they look at Zillow, they look at Redfin, they look at Remind. All those are great numbers. And you want to know those numbers for one particular reason. You want to know what the client is looking at, because they're not looking at your number yet. And your number might be totally different than those three. All three use different algorithms to get there. What you're depending on is your unique expertise in their neighborhood, right? You know the neighborhood. You're qualified to talk about their neighborhood. And that's important when you're talking pricing strategy. You need to know the objections and how to handle the objections on the pricing strategy. So get familiar with that. Attractive visuals. Old adage, right? Picture's worth 1,000 words. If I'm going through, now we do videos, and one of the things we use on a higher end are aerial videos. These aren't the static ones where you just go up, take a couple of pictures. I'm talking about moving videos where they're coming in, they're going out, they're zooming down, they're going lifting up and down, right? You're using the drone as your video. That's going to win you a good listing if it's done right by a professional, right? You spend the money on a professional. The other attractive visuals, homes that you sold in the past. Now, if you're trying to get a family home of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, don't go putting in the homes for the REOs, in the lower socioeconomic areas, because it's not what they want to see. They want to see what they're buying and selling. So make those attractive visuals. Sorry about that. Come on. There we go. It's coming. Practice. Practice is important, right? Once you customize the whole listing presentation in Designs or wherever you're creating it in, Canva, it's time to practice. Like everything else, delivering a great listing presentation is a skill. It takes repetition and consistency. So before sitting down with your listers, practice your scripts and focus on sharing value without selling. Without selling, right? Selling. So there are definitely three scripts you want to master. And the first one is, wouldn't it make sense to just get one more opinion before you get tied up in a multi-month contract? This is a script where you're calling through your neighborhood, you're calling your sphere, you're calling, and we're going to list with Bob, okay? Wouldn't it make sense to just get one more opinion on the price before you get tied into a multi-month contract and you can't get out? That's the first script. The second one is, do you feel I can sell your home? Now, this is a closing script where after you give them the content, after you give them your value, after you give them the pricing strategy, do you feel I can sell your home? It's a closed-end question, but it's a good question. It's a yes or a no. If they say yes, you're going to move directly into, great, sign here, press hard, 3 copies. You're going to go into that mode. If they say no, you're going to have to ask them again, well, what is stopping you from allowing me to sell your home? Go deeper, go 7 levels deep if you have to. Just keep saying, what else? What else? What else? So if I can take care of all those things, do you feel I can sell your home? Yes, you can sell my home. So understand those scripts. We do have a script catalog that we will share. If you want to drop your name into the chat box or a private chat, we're happy to share it with you. When would you like our photographer to come shoot your home is the last one. This is an assumptive close where you're saying, hey, When would you like our photographer to come out and shoot the home? You've already showed them what the photographer can do. You showed them the visualization, right? You showed them the attractive pictures and everything else you had out there. When would you like our photographer to come out to shoot your home? They're going to get wrapped up and go, you know what? Probably 2 weeks. Great, sign here. So go back to picking up the signature. My best. Next one. There it is. 3 tips to master those scripts in 90 days. Take the listing presentation, write it down once a day for 30 days. Folks, this is, you're going to go, but Greg, it's like 45 minutes long. Yeah, well, learn to write fast. Get that script written down. As you're writing it down, you're saying it to yourself, right? You're going to be saying it to yourself. So write it down once a day for 30 days. Take the listing presentation and recite the script aloud once a day for 30 days. Stand in front of your mirror, and I don't want you to recite this going, you know, Mr. Seller, this is the way we do. No, you've got to have the enthusiasm and the power in your voice using the words that you use to relay the excitement and anticipation of them moving on to their next home or into their next journey in life. Okay, so recite it. In front of a mirror is better. Role play. Role play the listing presentation once a day for 30 days. Find yourself a buddy who's going through the same thing and role play it. Role play does not mean you stop every 5 minutes. Role play means you go through and you hit all the punches. It's a live demonstration. It's like me right now talking to you. It's live. Okay? I'm going to role play and you're going to answer me. Go right through the entire thing, take the 30 minutes, take a breather, go back through and have the other person role play with you. Delivery. 4 things to keep in mind during the listing presentation. First one, rate of speech. Pay attention to the rate based on the seller you're meeting with. Match, mirror and match, right? Mirror and match. If they're loud, be loud. Okay? If they're quick, be quick. If they're slow, be slow. This is what this whole delivery presentation's about. If they're using vernacular, y'all come down now. You're going to be using y'all. You're not going to be saying, you know, folks, you all, because it's not, the more that you mimic and match, mirror and match, the better you're going to get with this. Tonality and dialect, just like we were talking about, you may have to change how you speak to build rapport with the seller. It comes down, folks, people work with people they like. And if this is who you are, and if they like you, you're going to get the deal. Control the volume of your voice to match theirs whenever possible. I got a booming voice. I definitely have a big booming voice. But if I'm talking to a 75-year-old couple sitting at a table, it's not going to be that booming. It's going to be whatever their level is. So be careful with that, okay? Mirror and match. Body language. Watch the seller and see how they respond to certain things. Mimic their body language. Body language is important. If you're sitting up there with your arms crossed, so they are, you know, back in the day, let me put that down. Back in the day, they'd tell us that was a signal that they weren't listening to you. You're telling them stuff they don't want to hear, and they're holding you close to them, or they're blocking you out. So mimic and match their body language. If they go for a glass of water, just put your hand on your glass of water. You don't have to drink it, but just put your hand on there. If they're holding their pen a certain way, hold your pen. You know, change your pen. Watch what they're doing. That's what a professional salesperson does. Okay, they mimic and match. Mirror and match. What do you do before you go out? Don't go out on a listing presentation without asking these questions. and this is an important question to ask, no matter what kind of sales you're in. If what I say makes sense and you feel 100% comfortable and confident in my abilities to get your home sold, will you be ready to put your home on the market? Reread that. If what I say makes sense and you feel 100% comfortable and confident in my abilities to get your home sold, will you be ready to put your home on the market? Important. What does this do for you? This is asking them. This is the question you're asking them. I don't want to go out to your house. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. Okay? If we're just coming out there to make friends, well, let's do that somewhere else. But if I'm coming out there to present to you, I want to know if your motivation is such as that we're going to put your home on the market. That's what we're in business here to do, folks. We're in business to buy and sell homes, help people buy and sell homes. So this brings you right down. This lets you know before you even get out the door what's happening. Second question, will you please describe your home for me? Let them tell you about the home. Why? Because like anybody else, whether you're in the car business or the home business, they're going to tell you the things that they feel. They're going to tell you the good things, and they're going to tell you the bad things. And this is going to give you an idea that when you're doing your price analysis, what you're looking for. Hey, you know what? My house is great. It's 4 bedrooms. The carpet's a little worn upstairs from where the kids were playing. Right? Ding, ding, ding. It's going to need carpet. A few people are going to be turned off by that. They're going to go through the whole thing. We love the kitchen. You know what? The refrigerator leaked 3 years ago. Was it repaired? No, not really. Okay. So you get more information. More information, the better off you are when you go to price the home. The more accurate you're going to be. When I see you, what price do you want to list your home for? Do not be fooled. 10 years ago, I would have said, hey, they got one other resource. Nowadays, they got a bunch of resources. They know sooner than you do what's sold in the neighborhood, what's coming on in the neighborhood, how much people are paying for in the neighborhood. They can go to Zillow, Redfin, Remind, a myriad of different places to get the value. Okay? They understand where that value should be. Now, I'm not saying everybody does. 99% of the people do. There's always that one knucklehead that puts his house on the market for $40,000 more than the last house sold for because, you know, I got pretty plants out front. And that works. But you still want to know what he thinks of it, because if it's a $250,000 house and this guy's saying $450,000, I want to address that right now. I'm not going to waste my time driving out to his house knowing that it's a tract home like everybody else and he wants $100,000 more. That's just a waste of my time, and it's going to be a waste of his time because he's not going to get anything out of it. I'll probably wind up, ticking him off because I'm going to tell him his house is worth $250,000 and this is why. But we're going to have that conversation before I even leave the door. Any questions on that? Cool. Cool. So those are the 4 things that are real important. I also want to touch on something else. Any questions? This is the listing presentation itself. If you're looking for any help with a listing presentation, give me a holler. I've got some more resources. I'll help you walk through it. I'll be happy to review your listing presentation if you do have one. That's always good. A good buddy of mine was in here the other day. We were talking about listings and presentations and everything else. And it comes down to your mindset. The biggest part of this presentation is all about mindset. And that's important. You've got to be confident to go in there with your numbers, with your background, whether you have one or not. Right? I've been around for 15 years, sold a lot of houses. I've got a pretty good background. I've got a good sheet of paper that says, look what I've done. Whereas a new agent comes in and they go, I haven't done anything. Where does the new agent go? The new agent goes back to their brokerage and says, what have we done? Show me our stats. Show me where we are in the market. What do I look like as an agent in your brokerage? Take me there. So you build your presentation around those numbers. You build your presentation around your education, how that's going to help them, around your marketing, your designation. You're a senior real estate specialist. Who are you going to be targeting? You're not going to be targeting kids with families because you're an SRES. You're going to be targeting that 55 and older crowd because that's who looks for you. Target your marketing around them. Look at your database. Who's in your database? 70% of my database is what fuels my sales every year. How did they get there? They got there through meeting people over the years, putting them in the database, and the listing presentation goes and talks to them. Hey, like and trust me. Please tell your friends about me, refer your friends to me, your family members. That's where my presentation runs around. A new agent, you're going to have to deal with numbers. You're going to have to deal with your sincerity and build a brand around who you are, not around who I am. So that's important. 3 goals when you go in. This is an old. It's an older setup, but it works every time. There are other tricks and stuff that we can teach you that helps you close the deal, and we'll go into those some other time. Or give me a call, set up an appointment. Your 3 goals. Motivation. Mr. Seller, we got 3 goals here. Number 1, motivation. Your motivation to sell the house. Number 2, you're going to ask me any questions that you need to know to make you feel better about hiring me. Okay. And number 3, if you're going to list with me, or if I'm going to take your listing. Those are the 3 goals that we're going to decide tonight. Now, I got 3 questions for you. Okay? And the first question is, do you want to list with me? And you got to answer that. Either yes or no. I've got the answers for you if you're looking for them. The second question, are you willing to sell this home? Are you willing to price the home to sell? Sorry about that. Are you willing to price the home to sell in today's market? Yes or no? We got the answers to those for you. And finally, the third one, do you want me to handle the sale of your house? Those are the 3 questions we're going to go over tonight. And we've got all those answers for you. Too long to get into here. Drop me a call. Drop me an email. Happy to meet with you. We'll go from there. My name is Greg Flanagan. We do Fridays with Flanagan every Friday. And you can catch us any one of our social networks. Disneyland. What is Disneyland, Greg? Disneyland is something that I've developed over the years. I learned it years ago when we put it into a nice little 6-week package. And what it's all about is building your fantasy business into reality. What's a fantasy business? It's about what's in your mind. How big do you want your business to get? Where do you want it to go? How many years? And this is what it's all about. Over the 6 weeks, we're going to be talking about mind mapping your Disneyland business. Why Disneyland? Years ago, Walt Disney, back in the early 50s, drew up a mind map, and I'll share that with you, and we'll make your own mind map. We're going to identify your mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. It's important, especially if you're a new agent and you really don't have a direction of where you want to go. This right here is going to help you decide through the years where you want your business to go. We're going to create you an org chart. We're going to map out your unique wall of value. What is a wall of value? It tells people, it tells your customer, your clients, this is why you're going to pay me X amount of dollars. This is what I bring to you. Here's everything that I offer you to become my client. And it's important, whether you're dealing with bringing in agents onto your team, bringing in clients into your business. It could be a wall of value to bring a wife or a husband into your life, right? It's your wall of value. So we're going to map out your unique wall of value. We're going to create a team structure for you. A lot of people out there don't know what a team structure is. And I'll be honest with you, it took me 9 years before I got to that point where I could say, I understand what a team structure is. I understand how to hire, who to hire, when to hire, and where to go with that. And at the end, you're going to learn specific hiring guidelines. You put this whole thing together, and it's going to be $197 for 6 weeks. Course materials, everything else that goes along. It's a virtual right now. It's virtual. We're still coming out of the COVID period. Don't know where we're going, but 6-week course focused on turning your future business into reality. Next session starts June 10th, 2021. Time is at 2 o'clock, and you can go to www.growyouриncome.co. Growyouриncome.co. Sign up today. Think about it. $197. Some people say, "Wow, that's a lot of money." You can't not afford to do this. If you're looking at staying in this business for a long time and nobody has shown you the path of getting to either a more leveraged business or team business, then this is for you. It's going to be a great time. Growyourincome.co. We're starting up in 2 weeks. And power onward. Drop your email in the comments below or send us a private message. We will send our 25 most frequently used objection handlers. So we hope to see you. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. I'm Greg Flanagan. Be prosperous.